Have you ever woken up and wondered, when did I lose myself? Not in a dramatic collapse, but in the subtle, almost invisible ways life pulls you away from who you are. It begins quietly in moments so ordinary that you barely notice them. A smile you wear to keep the peace, a yes, when every part of you wanted to say no. A thought you dismiss because it doesn't seem practical. Each act feels small, harmless even, but together, they carry you further and further from your center until one day you realize you can't even hear your own voice anymore. Self-betrayal doesn't announce itself, it whispers. You become what others expect, what the world demands, until the truer self beneath the masks grows faint and distant. You keep moving because stillness feels uncomfortable or unfamiliar, and yet the faster you go, the emptier it becomes. Days blur together, filled with routines and obligations, and even moments meant to bring joy carry a quiet echo. A gentle reminder of someone you once knew, someone with a voice, a spark, a rhythm entirely their own. The drift is subtle, and that's what makes it so deceptive. It shows up in small choices, agreeing when you wanted to say no, hiding parts of yourself so others feel comfortable, bending to fit roles you never consciously accepted. It shows up in habits you hardly notice, filling silence with noise, scrolling endlessly, seeking distraction rather than facing the stillness that asks the hardest question of all, who am I really? And the deeper you drift, the harder it becomes to even recognize the way back. You might catch fleeting glimpses, a thought that feels unfamiliar, a longing that tugs at the edges, but they slip away before you can grasp them. Here lies the paradox. The more you chase yourself through doing, achieving, or becoming better, the more elusive you seem. The path isn't out there. It isn't about becoming someone new. The way forward begins with noticing the drift, seeing the patterns that have quietly pulled you away, and realizing just how far you've wandered. By now, you may feel a quiet tension rising, a question forming at the back of your mind. If I've lost myself this subtly, is it even possible to return? The answer isn't here yet. First, you need to understand exactly how and why this drift happens and the hidden patterns that have shaped your journey. Because the truth is, the drift isn't just about distraction or habit. It's about the subtle ways you've moved through life, agreeing to what seemed necessary, yielding to what felt safer, following patterns you barely noticed. These movements are not mistakes. They are part of your journey, quietly carrying you along. And now, in the stillness that touches your heart, something stirs, a gentle curiosity, a quiet question, a sense that there might be a way to feel fully alive and truly yourself again. And this stir is important because it is the first invitation to see not only how you've drifted, but also what has been quietly shaping your path, the patterns that we will explore next. Beneath the surface of daily life, there are subtle drifts you may not notice, quietly carrying you away from your own center. You may feel busy, productive, even fulfilled, yet a part of you moves along paths you never consciously chose. It begins with small decisions, staying silent when your heart wants to speak, agreeing to what feels expected, or postponing what excites you because it seems impractical. Each choice feels minor, but over time, they add up, forming patterns that pull you further from the voice that belongs solely to you. These patterns are not mistakes. They are part of how you've learned to navigate the world. Perhaps you extend yourself for others, setting aside your own needs to feel accepted. Perhaps you've paused passions that once lit you up, believing they were unnecessary. Perhaps you fill every moment with activity, avoiding quiet spaces where your true self waits. At first, these habits feel natural, even comforting. But over time, the unnoticed drift grows and your inner compass becomes faint. Then there are the distractions, ever present and insistent. Endless scrolling, constant stimulation, superficial connections, the pursuit of comfort. Each serves a purpose to keep you moving without confronting the spaces where your heart waits. You may promise yourself, I'll return to myself tomorrow, yet tomorrow comes and the drift continues, subtle and persistent. What feels normal can easily mask the distance you've traveled from your own center. Even the discomfort of this drift can become familiar. Restlessness, exhaustion, and longing all begin to feel routine. You may catch glimpses of your own reflection, a thought, a spark, a fleeting curiosity, but each slips away before it can take hold. Life calls, the mind rationalizes, and the movement continues. Yet within this subtle, persistent motion is also an invitation, an opportunity to notice, to awaken to the way you've been moving through life. The paradox is that the very habits and patterns that carry you away can also guide you home. The fatigue you feel, the hollow satisfaction after achievements, the restless craving for distraction, all are mirrors, reflecting the distance from your own heart. Seen with awareness, they are not warnings or faults, but markers, pointing to what matters most, your return to yourself. So the next step is not force, not action, but observation. Notice without judgment. See the patterns you may have normalized. Feel the quiet stirrings in your heart that hint at another possibility, a path back to being fully present, fully alive, and fully yourself. And even as you begin to notice, something still waits beneath the surface, an unseen resistance, quiet but powerful, that can make the return feel impossible. Understanding this inner resistance is the key, and it is what we will explore next. Even as you notice the drift, even as a gentle stir in your heart hints at a return, something quiet often lingers. An inner resistance. It is subtle, almost invisible, yet undeniably present, whispering that the path back to yourself is too difficult, too risky, or not yet possible. You may not recognize it at first because it feels familiar, like a shadow moving beside you, guiding your choices without speaking loudly. This resistance is not your enemy. It has been here to protect you, keeping you safe from feelings you weren't ready to face, from the vulnerability of being fully seen, even by yourself. It may have served you once, and in its own gentle way, it still carries you. But now, it quietly nudges you away from the very self that has always been waiting, asking only for your awareness. Notice how it appears. Perhaps it is a soft hesitation, the gentle voice that says, I'll begin tomorrow. Perhaps it is a tug toward distraction, or a feeling that your desires are too bold, too much. Perhaps it is fear, of feeling too deeply, of standing in your own light, of uncovering what you've been avoiding. Each of these is a whisper, a hint, a reflection of the tender care your inner world has given you all along. And here's the secret. This resistance does not vanish through force. It softens when met with attention and compassion. By noticing it without judgment, by leaning in with curiosity rather than pushing away, you create space for understanding. Awareness is the first step in transforming this quiet resistance from an obstacle into a guide, a subtle companion showing you where your heart most longs to return. So lean in, observe the hesitations, the distractions, the gentle pulls backward. Ask your inner self softly, what am I afraid to feel? What part of me has been waiting to be noticed? These are not questions you must answer immediately. They are openings, invitations to connect with the self that has never left. And here is the most remarkable thing. The resistance you feared is also pointing you home. Each hesitation, each quiet doubt, highlights exactly where your attention is needed, where your heart is calling. Once you meet it with warmth and awareness, the path forward begins to appear, not as a struggle, but as a gentle, unfolding journey, one step at a time. By the end of this process, you will be ready to step fully into the self that has been quietly waiting, alive, present, and whole. And the next section will guide you into that embrace, showing how to move from noticing and understanding to truly feeling at home in your own being. Now that you've seen the drift and recognized the quiet resistance within, a new awareness begins to unfold. The path home is gentle. It is not about striving or forcing, but about returning, step by step, breath by breath, to the self that has always been waiting. This path is not a checklist or a goal to achieve. It is a rhythm, a flow, a tender invitation to align with the truth of who you are. It begins with noticing the small, fleeting moments when your heart calls. Perhaps it is a pause in your day, a quiet thought, a subtle curiosity, a gentle tug towards something that feels alive. These tiny lights illuminate the way, revealing the path that has always been here, even when life felt blurred or overwhelming. Each conscious breath, each soft recognition is an act of returning. The more you practice this noticing, the more your presence deepens, and the more the path home becomes clear. Next comes acceptance. Acceptance does not mean settling or ignoring what has been lost. It means embracing where you are with warmth and compassion. Every hesitation, every distraction, every moment of drift has shaped you and prepared you for this gentle return. When you meet yourself with love instead of judgment, the path becomes lighter. What once felt like obstacles transform into teachers, guides showing where your attention, care, and energy are most needed. Alignment follows, the choice to move in harmony with your own rhythm. Alignment is not perfection. It is listening to the subtle signals of your heart, saying yes to what nourishes you, allowing space for what feels true. Each small step, each mindful action is like a note in the quiet song of your return. Even when life is busy, even when doubts arise, these choices remind you, you are home, you belong within yourself. And here is the most beautiful truth. The path home is alive. Moments of drift will continue to appear, but they are no longer threats. They are gentle reminders, invitations to return, to realign, to be present. Life itself becomes a co-creator, a quiet companion carrying you forward with ease, showing that the journey is not about forcing change, but about opening to what has always been here. So begin now. Notice one small moment today where you can pause, breathe, and meet yourself with gentle attention. Allow yourself to feel even the slightest spark of presence. Each mindful step, each soft pause is a return, and even the tiniest gestures matter more than you realize. And if this journey has stirred something in your heart, explore other videos on this channel. Each one is a gentle companion, offering whispers, reflections, and guidance to support your awareness, self-love, and awakening. Share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to continue this journey together, and remember, the path home is always here, welcoming you with warmth and love, one tender, mindful step at a time.